Hey viewers, have you ever heard the term chain stretch and wondered about it? Like, how does that chain stretch? Maybe you think, well, you're climbing up that steep hill and you're standing on the cranks and that chain is under such tension, it's being pulled and it stretches. Well, hold up there, Lance Armstrong. That's not what happens. I'm going to explain what chain stretch is, show you an example, and explain what actually causes it. Let's start off by measuring a brand new chain. Align the beginning of the ruler up with the center of one of the pins. And if you notice, the pins are all a ½ inch apart. Chains are actually measured in inches. So for you metric folks, sorry, you have to live with that. Now come down the other end of the ruler. Notice that the 12-inch mark lines up exactly with the center of the pin down here. That all those pins line up exactly with the ½ inch marks. That's the way that it should be on a brand new chain, or pretty close to that. Now this chain is really worn. I just pulled this off a bike I'm working on. Let's go ahead and measure this. Start off with lining the beginning of the ruler up with the center of the pin over here. Now if we go down to the other end of the ruler, notice that the arrow is not lined up with the center of the pin down here, that the pin is actually out a little bit past the arrow. So now this chain, when you measure between the pins, is very slightly longer than the brand new chain was. Now the normal method to check to see how much the chain is worn or kind of stretched is to use like a little chain checker tool here, chain wear tool. And this tool here has two different sides. It has one that's 0.5 and the other side is 0.75. So usually you would start on the lower number side first. And so if I put this in, if it was worn beyond that point, this end part here would fall through the chain, but it doesn't. If it fell through, then you would want to go ahead and replace the chain. If you continued riding the chain and it continues to wear more, then you might even go over to the 0.75 side and then have that fall through, and that would be extremely worn. But since this is a brand new chain, it's not worn at all, the tool is not going through. But now let's go over to this one. So I can go on the 0.5 side, and that falls through just pretty easily. And if I go over to the 0.75 side, you see that goes through. So this chain is just extremely worn. So now we know this chain here is elongated, but let me go ahead and explain why it gets elongated. So now to show what's going on inside chain, I made a mock-up of a chain link here. So here is like the outer plate, here's the inner plate, here's a pin that's pressed into the outer plate, there's a bushing there, then normally there'd be another inner plate and another outer plate there. Now, as you're riding, as the chain is going around the chain rings, through the derailleur pulleys, around the cassette, this inner plate is pivoting over and over on this pin there. It's just pivoting. And so over time, it's going to wear. Now, if your chain is dirty, it's going to wear faster. If you don't keep your chain lubricated, it's going to wear faster. And I'm going to show you what happens when the chain wears. You're going to get wear on the inside of the pin there, and you're going to get wear in the hole of the plate there. So where the inner plate would have started right here, when you start getting wear on the inside of the pin there and on the plate there, now it comes over this way. You can see how it gets a little bit longer. So when you talk about chain stretch, the chain really doesn't stretch. These links don't stretch. What happens is you get this wear on the pin and the plate, and these just kind of move over. Now, this is exaggerated. On an actual chain, the wear is going to be just very, very tiny, but it adds up. So this is one pin, one link here, one linkage. So if you multiply that by 24 for that 12 inches, all that adds. So multiply that little tiny bit by 24 times, and it adds up to like a millimeter or more. So that's what happens. So this chain is not really stretching, it's just wear. Now, what you want to do is, like I said, you want to keep the chain clean, you want to keep it lubed, and you want to use a chain tool like this to check for wear. So when it starts falling through, replace the chain. You don't want to be riding on a worn, long chain. If the chain is longer, what's going to happen is on your cassettes or your chain rings, these teeth are spaced for a chain where the links are a ½ inch apart. So as that chain gets longer, all of a sudden now the chain is going to be starting to hit on different parts of the teeth, and it'll start wearing out your cassettes and your chain rings faster. So be sure to change your chain before it gets too worn. Anyway, I hope this explains what chain stretch is, or in this case, chain stretch isn't. It's actually just wear. So I hope you found this video useful or interesting. If you did, please give my video a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to my channel, click that subscribe button down there. Be sure to click the bell so you get notified when new videos come out. I'm over on Facebook, RJ the Bike Guy. Go over there, like that page. I post a lot of stuff over there. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching.